All right. You have anything else to say before we pop this first cut up, sir?
No, no.
All right, here we go.
This is a cut that I grabbed from. I don't see where it is. I'm trying to open all these so I can just read them on my laptop here. This one's from USA Today. And it's by Swampna Venugopal Ramaswamy.
Oh, Ramaswamy, is that related to Vivek?
Ramaswamy.
Ramaswamy.
USA Today. It's an article says Trump is signing an order on federal AI rules. Here's why. And then the article does go on and on and on, and I can read from it, but there was one part in particular, just pull up cut two, that I'll read from, and then we can discuss kind of where this goes. From the article, it says, quote, 2 years ago, no one would have thought an AI chatbot would coach their kids to take their lives. We sit here today with knowledge, with that knowledge, yet those that took an oath to defend us are considering a moratorium on any AI regulations, regardless of harm, said Guffey, who serves on the South Carolina House of Representatives Committee on AI, according to a public citizen news release. This is done in the interest of the world's richest companies and at the expense of our children. Still, Trump argued in his December 8th post that letting each state come up with its own regulations would be detrimental to the development of AI technology. AI would be what? Trump? AI would be, AI will be destroyed in its infancy, he wrote in his Truth Social post. You can't expect a company to get 50 approvals every time they want to do something that will never work. I just want to respond really quickly to the last point there. That would be the same for every company then. And what you're basically saying is that you just want federal control of almost all regulations, because every company is impacted by every rules that are different. Like all of these rules that are different in every state. So like if you do this based on that, precedent, I think that it definitely does give way to, just federalizing every rule and regulation and saying that states really don't have the rights. But obviously we know that they do, because that's what the Civil War was fought over, was states' rights. But I do somewhat agree with that first part. 2 years ago, nobody really would have thought that an AI chatbot would be coaching kids to take their lives. But it's so much more than just that, which that's pretty bad. That's like a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 bad, coaching kids to take their lives. But it's going to be so much more than that. It's going to be impersonating people, if your voice exists on the internet, or not even,
Even if your face exists on the internet.
Yeah, there's
not even just your voice.
Huge scams, huge political scams. It's going to be very difficult. It's already very difficult for a lot of people who don't understand AI, like boomers and older Gen Xers, or just regular run-of-the-mill people that don't work in this stuff every day or look for this stuff every day. It's gonna get even better, and it already does trick some people. So yeah. I think that this does lead. So I see
it's tricked teabag and tag before.
I see Trump's point that it needs to be regulated like on a whole level, because it is like, it's kind of like its own issue. So like I will say that to back Trump up just a little bit, but like I don't know, man. Like I don't really want to step on states' toes, and I also don't want to like stifle. I also don't want to stifle companies, because right now it seems like our entire economy is propped up by AI. So I don't know. What do you think?
So the whole thing with the state versus federal regulation is kind of the reason why I wanted to talk about it, because the reason I call it a dictatorship, why Alex Jones calls it a dictatorship, and why I agree with him, is because it's eliminating the opportunity for the states to jump in and be the first to start regulating AI. Because if we get someone like California or a super left state regulating AI, then the founding fathers were all black, and and Caesar was a transgender black female. So the problem, I understand why he wants to grab that regulation, before the states can get to it. It's like he's trying to say, okay, the federal government is going to take over the regulation of this, and the states are pretty much not allowed to regulate it, because it's almost at the level of free speech because it's a massive information system, right? So if we're gonna take this information system and we're only gonna feed it a propaganda and a specific worldview and only certain narratives, then we have, then it's completely manipulating the masses in a certain direction, and we already see how it's done that. Like, we know there was a whole thing. I forget. You know what's funny? I think we have a clip of Tim Pool at the end, but I think it was Tim Pool that I saw this guy on. There was a guy that he had on his podcast talking about the manipulation of AI and the algorithms on people, especially in voting, and it was like almost 15% of the vote can be swung just based on the AI and the algorithms influencing people, what they see, what they hear on social media, the information they get, the information they don't get. So the idea behind it, I'm hoping, is genuine, is like he wants to get it to the point, he wants to have the federal government regulate it so, different states can't just manipulate their people with propaganda, so the information is more of an unbiased filter rather than just a specific filter, and maybe there'll be options to filter it for biases. I don't know, but that's the main idea. Is he wants to grab control of the regulations so it doesn't just swing in one way. But then we can also see, if the federal government is getting all regulation ability, that means depending on who the president is, depending on who Congress is, then it could still wind up being a propaganda, technology. So I don't know. I understand why he's trying to do it. Right. It is regardless. But if it could be, what we need is decentralization. We need as many people with their hands in this technology as possible in the U.S. Like, yeah, obviously, China's probably more advanced in it than we are, and that's why they're trying to bring in people from other countries to really build these systems up that have already, like, that's why we see such an investment from all these AI companies. They're coming from other countries over to the U.S. because there's less regulation on these companies in other countries. So I don't know. I understand why he's doing it. I know. I realize that it's to not allow people like Newsom or Whitmer or Hochul regulate it for their states in a biased, propaganda.
So he can do it in a biased way. So
he can do it in the way that he sees fit. And that's the problem is, the good thing is, at least I agree with many of the things that he at least espouses publicly. The problem is what happens when a Democrat gets into presidency or Congress or whoever's regulating these issues. What happens when the people we don't want in there get in there? It's like, we almost need a hedge from the states, to at least, if there was a hedge against the centralization, people could at least realize it and move to where the propaganda is not so strong. And the other problem, though, is decentralization. I guess not the problem, but what would be good if it was decentralized rather than centralized? Because that's what he's doing. He's centralizing the regulation. If it was decentralized, I think that's the way to go. I think that's what we should do. But I don't know. What do you think about that?
I mean, I don't really know as much about AI as I probably should, considering it's becoming a huge issue, and like it's going to take everybody's jobs. Like, there's going to be certain.
They project 8 million jobs lost in the next 5 years.
Yeah,
mostly trucking, mostly receptionists, mostly desk jobs and stuff. And the trucking, dude, the thing that blows my mind is trucking is it's going to be obsolete. They have the automatic driving. It's all the highways are just going to be lined with robot vehicles that are just transporting people and transporting goods. It's going to be a railway, except the highway. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, that's a fair point, but I'm thinking, there's going to be tons of like the people that work in these tech sectors. Like, you might have jobs, you might get like job changes, but like eventually they're going to figure out a way to replace you. So doctors, nurses, all that stuff, even lawyers, you'll probably be gone. Like, all of these people that think like, oh, I'm in a very specialized thing. Like, even me, like even bridge inspectors, even dudes that spray the undercarriages of cars so they don't get rusty. AI is going to take over everything, and it might not just be like everything all at once, but it's going to be a slow fall.
It's not going to be a slow fall. It's going to be a very quick fall.
it's gonna be slowly, and then everything and then suddenly, like it's gonna,
We're
a
approaching
job
the
here and a
suddenly.
job here, and we are approaching the suddenly a lot. I think more rapidly than people would like to admit, because like I said, my job, to be honest with you, could easily be like as a pharmacist could easily be done as AI.
Everyone uses AI every single day. Like if we're not talking about jobs specifically, even in your job you're using AI. Like any search engine you're using, anything that's measuring, that's collecting data, transferring data, anything that is pretty much on a computer is using algorithms, it's using AI to guide it, it's using prompts, it's using all this stuff.
And the newer cars have computers in them that have AI, and they report. So like
the
I'm
Teslas
driving right now,
they can drive back to the dealership if you don't pay your bill. That's crazy.
Every day that so right now I'm in a rental car because I got rear-ended by some old boomer.
Yeah, rear-ended.
Every time
that's
I
what
get
he
in the
says.
rental car, it tells me like, "Oh, we're sending your data to like the car manufacturer."
Yeah. Yep.
And you could like turn it off, but not all the way. It's like you can limit it, but you can't turn it
But
off.
they're gonna keep asking
So, like,
you every couple days. They're gonna, oh, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? No,
it's like, no,
no,
I really don't.
no.
Like, what are you checking? Like, are you checking how fast I'm going and like how loud my stereo is? Or like, are you checking the performance of the vehicle and reporting that stuff? They're going to say that they're reporting they're going to say that it's just the performance and how we can improve our next model.
Well, this is the thing, though. This is the
not.
weird thing, though, is they say they're doing it for the purpose of the performance of the vehicle, but they still collect all that other data that has nothing to do with the performance of the vehicle. So
yeah, so they can report it to the insurance company. Or like once that passes,
so
they're gonna say he was actually going 63 and a 55, and his stereo was on 32 out of 40, so it was loud and he was going fast. So like it's probably this guy's fault, even though he got hit this way and all the other stuff. It's going to be a nightmare, and I don't know that much about AI, but I do know that I think the propensity for bad typically outweighs the good until we figure out a way to limit that bad, which nobody's really discussed. Like I'm not in that field, so I don't really listen to people talk about it too much. But maybe I should, because right now I don't think that I've heard enough people say like, here's how we're going to limit the bad, because realistically AI is going to fall. It is going to fall into everybody's hands. And the way that we're going to use it is going to be, we're going to have people behave like good people, because it's going to turn into those scam calls where it's going to be like, hey, mom, this is Tyler and I'm in jail right now. I need you to wire, $2,000 for my bail to this number. And, my mom's going to be like, sounds like my kid,
yeah, it's gonna be
I'll bail
bad.
him out, and that's like an easy example, like forget about that. Now you're gonna call like your local tax collector and just be like, I'd like to change the name on the title of my house, and they're gonna be like, okay, sounds like this person. You're gonna be able to get somebody's social security number and information like that, people's birthdays, phone numbers, home addresses, all that's already largely public information, which we could have another discussion about. Shouldn't be. So AI is going to turn into a nightmare, I think, until they really, really say like, this is how we're gonna roll with all the bad things that are going to happen, because it's already happening. There's already people that are kind of doing things like that. They'll call them the deep fakes or the cheap fakes. They were calling them during the Biden presidency. Those are pretty common, already. And like, sometimes it's really difficult to tell if something's real or not. So I don't know. Until we get a hold on this thing. So I agree with where Trump's coming from. I just don't like the precedent that it sets, taking things away from states. But I do see his argument, that some states are going to regulate it completely differently. And my argument to that would be, I honestly don't care. If California and Oregon want to do it the way that's not going to be good for their citizenry, then they can do it that way. I live in Florida, so I'm going to advocate for certain policies in Florida. I'm going to vote for people that, do things the way that I want done in Florida. Anyway, I don't know that much about it, but it does scare me. But also to end on an optimistic note, to end my segment on an optimistic note, I do think that it has the propensity and the ability to be something that's absolutely massive in this country and massive for humanity.
Yeah, I mean, pretty soon, you know what? I might as well make the announcement now. I'm going to be releasing some music because AI can produce it like crazy. No, so dude, AI is literally going to take over everything. So me and Jeezy, our boy Jeezy from high school,
Akon and Young Jeezy.
We came together, made a song. He made the lyrics, I made the music. We popped them in. Well, I did. He doesn't even know this yet. He might be watching this. He's not going to even know that I did it, but I'm going to send him the song after the show. But I popped it into the AI music app, and it produces it, it mixes it and masters it, and makes it sound professional. And we didn't sing over it. We just added the lyrics, and then they generated the voice, the vocals. Dude, it sounds perfect. It sounds like a modern rock song that is literally perfect in every single way. And it's our music, our lyrics. Just it literally sounds like a perfect production of music. But anyway, AI is going to take everyone's jobs.
I think that's bad. It takes away the creativity. You know?
No. Hang on. It didn't generate the song.
I mean, I know.
I made the song, but that would be the thing that it did is make it like when I'm producing it, I have to put compressors and make it sound, but
it's not your lyric, or it's not you singing. No.
So that part's not. That part's not. So we can listen. We can add our vocals to it and sing over it, and then have it just mix it and master it. But we didn't do that yet.
We've already seen these, like, these
but what was the difference? But hang on.
I know they're different.
Well,
I know what you're going to say. The AI, they didn't do anything. It was completely AI. 100%.
No. But I'm not even saying that. I'm saying, what is the difference of someone being a songwriter, writing lyrics, and then selling them to a country singer for them to sing? Like, that's how George Strait made his entire life. Like, most of the songs, like half the songs that he made were his original songs that he wrote, but the other half he bought from people because they were good lyrics, and then sang them, and then he made them famous. What's the difference of that and me making, him making the lyric and then having AI produce the vocals as some perfect rock singer? What's the difference?
I'm not.
It'd be the same thing as me paying someone it'd be the same thing as me paying Chevelle to sing the song.
I am not prepared for this conversation.
I hear you, but it's either. This is the problem with AI, and let's move over. We've been beating this dead horse.
Well, there's more on the AI thing.
Okay, before we move on to the next one, I just want to say this. We can move on and get going. AI. This is the deal with AI. If you don't understand and know how to use it, you're gonna be left in the dust. But this is the problem, though. This is the problem is there's gonna be two sects of people, and I'm like, me using it on a device is where I stop, right? Using it on my phone, using it on the computer, that's where I stop. I'm not going any farther with AI, right?
I'm going to install one in my foreskin.
It can't make anything bigger. But like, I'm not going to have a car that is an electric, AI vehicle like Tesla. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. I'm not going to put any chips in my brain. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. Hey, listen, if I fell and I got paralyzed and they were like, hey, if you put this Neuralink in your brain and it'll make you walk again, I would do it. Okay, I'm sorry to say I would do it. If it could fix stuff like that, those are the beginning stages of Neuralink. But the problem is it's going to be sold as a device that is even 10 times quicker than your phone because you don't need to interface with it. What this Neuralink is going to be with AI is almost, they call it the hive mind, but it's going to be that chip in your brain is going to be directly linked to the internet, and everything that you're going to do, you're going to interface with just your brain. You're not going to need a phone. You're not going to need a screen. You're not going to need any of that. You're just going to be able to interface and do all of the stuff completely hands-free in your brain. You're probably going to be able to see it in your eyes with the chip.
And it's only going to be $799 a month. And if you can't afford that, you can get the ads version, where it gives you where it automatically plays.
And then you got to get a VPN in a hack safety software so no one hacks your brain. Wow, this is my third boner today. Anyway.
Yeah. This one's brought to you by.
How come every time the microwave comes on, I lose my memory and start foaming at the mouth? But anyway, no. The main point I want to make is, this is what I project is going to be the mark of the beast. It's going to be something along the lines of this, because think about it this way: before computers came out, all of the jobs that we did were done without computers, right? It was, surveying, engineering, construction. All of these jobs were done completely without computers. Now that computers come in, everything's using it. If you don't use the computer, you're losing money and you're not going to be able to compete. You're not going to be, if you don't have a phone, if you don't have a freaking bulldozer with GPS hooked to it, you're not going to be able to make any money because you have to know the perfect grade to push the dirt. They literally have GPSs hooked up to bulldozers, so the guy doesn't even run it. He just pushes the button so it can go, and he hangs out in there just in case anything goes wrong. And the blade just moves perfectly because it's hooked to GPS, and it raises and lowers the blade at the perfect level for the perfect freaking elevation. Everything uses computers. Everything uses AI. And if you don't have it, you're left in the dust. It's going to get to that point where Neuralink is that thing where if you don't have the Neuralink in your brain, you're going to be so behind everyone because you're not going to be able to access information as quickly. You're not going to be as smart. You're not going to be as because you're not going to have to go to school. You're not going to have to be smart. You're not going to have you literally will just be directly connected. And at that point, there's only two options. It's either you're going to have it in order to take place in the market, in order to operate in the marketplace, or they're just going to robots are going to take over literally everything. And we're going to be in the socialist utopia that they claim that is possible with socialism, but it's not.
Well, the other big problem with AI that's really difficult to dance around here is that pull up cut 3. AI now accounts for a third of U.S. market value. What that means for the economy. It also, from what I read, accounts for 92% of the GDP growth. So, like, if the market, if we're a 3% growth, like 92% of that 3% is so like 2.7% of the growth is from AI. So it's almost all AI driven now. And I was doing the math while you were talking there. Like, of the S&P 500, there's like 8 companies in the top 10 that are highly AI focused, and it's like 35% of the entire market. So it's a third or a little bit more than a third. And a lot of these companies that aren't even in the top 10 are also using AI. Like, you'd be a fool to believe that like JP Morgan, Visa, Johnson & Johnson, and Palantir, obviously, who's number 19, Netflix, Bank of America, Costco. You'd be a fool to believe that these companies aren't advancing their own AI to fit their own, bill of services. So it's something that like states and the federal government have to kind of dance around, because if they interrupt it too abruptly or they interrupt it too much, our market's going to come crumbling down. Our job, like a lot of our jobs are based around developing that right now. So our job market would come crumbling down, and it would certainly impact the way that this country does business in the short term, which heavily impact the way that this country does business in at least the short term, if not the medium to long term too, because I don't really see, because our economy used to be, especially like not even that long ago, I'll say 10, 15 years ago. And then, from I'll say up to, I don't know, when Nixon took us off the gold standard until up to 2010, our economy was based heavily on oil and energy. That's kind of shifted now, whereas the energy is the AI. And, we've done this a lot in this country, put like all of our chips on like one specific sector to kind of to boom us. But I think that there needs to be at least a little bit of a drawback for the economy standpoint, for jobs, for the way the stock market's going to roll, for the way that, money is going to move in this country. We have it too centered on AI right now. And I know that there's a lot of money to be made in AI, but I certainly still think that there's a lot of money to be made in other things too, like energy, oil specifically. Getting us back on the gold standard would be an important thing to kind of mitigate some of these issues too. So like if things do go awry, then being on the standard of gold is something that would kind of save our asses.
This is what I was talking about. It's the problem is the future is AI. Like, there's no such thing as having too much investment in AI. This is why Elon was pissed at Trump when they, their ties were broken. All of Elon was trying to influence Trump in the way of AI, along with like Palantir. We see Palantir, what's his name? David Ellison and Peter Thiel, they got tight ties with Trump, and they're pushing the AI big time because AI is literally going to take everything. It's going to take over everything. There's only two scenarios. It's fucking Terminator and iRobot, or it's absolute utopian society. Like the robots are just going to take care of everything and do everything.
Humans. I'm sorry to cut you off here, but this is a point that needs to be made. I feel that humans need to do some sort of
we
labor.
Need purpose. That's the problem. Is we need purpose. But listen to me. Hang on.
If you want to solve your fentanyl issue, then you need to create jobs for people, not smash down boats in Venezuelan waters.
I'm sorry, but you're wrong, because these people don't care about us. They don't care about having a workforce. They care about what is the cheapest, what is the most efficient, what is the easiest. I know you want people to have jobs, and so do I. I want people to have jobs, but it's not going to happen. Because AI is that with the robots and with everything, it's going to take it over. Like, it's going to take it over. There's no question AI will take every job over eventually. Within the next probably 50 years, every single job will be taken over by AI. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. They have robots in China right now. In China, they have entire ports set up with not a single human being in there. The ship drives in. They have automatic cranes on AI that go over, pick up all the cargo and put it in the spot where it's supposed to go. Everything is automated. Not a single human being runs anything. That's how everything is going to be. Trucks, shipping.
Except for the rub and tugs.
I don't even know what that means. I know what
Sexy time massage parlor.
No, they already got AI girlfriends, dude. They're gonna have.
I know,
dude. They're gonna have the best massages. They're gonna have the most. They're gonna learn how to perfectly caress your butt cheeks and your back to massage it.
All right, let's wrap up this AI section here. We're getting out of control.
Yeah. But anyway, my main point is we need to be prepared for this problem. We need to.